Welcome to the Verdin Verdict Sports Show. I'm your host, Jacob Verdin. We on the road right now. Got an interesting setup for you. Hopefully, everything's working from the audio, camera, Wi-Fi, yada yada yada. You know how this stuff goes. I'm your host, Jacob Verdin. This is the Verdin Verdict. My guy G-Sportz is coming in a little bit. He'll be here at around 1:30ish, but we'll keep this going for you until then. First things first, man. Let's just jump right into it. Our last show, we pissed off a lot of people. A lot. A lot of people didn't want to hear. Oh, we don't know if Lane Kiffin's coming. Look, a lot of media, LSU media, national media, a lot of people are saying it feels like a done deal. And I think like 39 analysts predicted Lane Kiffin coming to LSU. And I want to preface it with this. I'm not saying if Lane Kiffin gets hired, I'm gonna be pissed off, bad hire, all this stuff. No, I mean, I think it could be a good situation. I just think the point I was trying to make is that there could be more options here, and there could be more options to lead you to success in the same way. Like a lot of people think this is the only option you got, and if you don't get it, you're screwed. And I just kind of want to pull back a little bit because, in my opinion, there is a possibility that nobody really has any internal uh, dialogue or has a thermostat on this decision at all. I feel like Lane Kiffin is the only one in this entire conversation that knows what he's going to do. So for me to come out here and definitively say he's going to LSU or whatever, it would be stupid, quite frankly. But I feel like if you had to put me in that situation with what I know, I would stay. I would stay because I'm a big the way I look at it, I'm a big legacy guy. I'm a competitor, I feel like, but I would rather have my name tied to the program that I built comparatively to going to a new program like an LSU or like a Florida, and people questioning, oh well, he couldn't get it done at Ole Miss, so he had to leave and go get it done there. There will be doubters that continuously always nitpick everything you do. We know that. Like, look, if he stays at Ole Miss, LSU and Florida will be pissed. If he goes to LSU, Florida and Ole Miss will be pissed. Vice versa, yada yada yada. You're not going to please everybody. Um, it's interesting though. I feel like there's so many things that people are kind of blown out of proportion. These coaching carousel searches, it's so tough to decipher what's a rumor, what's not, what to believe in, what to put stock in. This is all the information and intel we got right now. First things first, Mizzou is having a meeting with Eli Drinkwitz right now. They're trying to get a contract extended for him. And I'm not trying to say that Drinkwitz is getting offered any particular job, but he is on the radar of a lot of top teams. And that's all I'm just going to put out there about that. I know a lot of LSU fans publicly despise Drinkwitz publicly, 100%. Like I see it all over Twitter. I saw it in the comments. I saw it live. I saw a bunch of different reactions toward that. And when G gets in here, I'm gonna ask him this question. But it's a weird spot you're in because Texas A&M, they listened and they're like, all right, cool. Yeah, you don't want Stoops. We'll go get Elko. Obviously, everybody knows what happened. Texas A&M is a top SEC team, or so Reed has taken the cake. But I just feel like there's a give and a take with allowing the public perception to have you make a decision that could quite frankly be $100+ million decision in a 2-3 month span. Because if you give Lane, what's the rumor, 93 million? How much of that's going to be guaranteed? Over 80. So that's 80 million to one guy in and of itself. The roster, everyone's saying it'll be around 25 million again. So now if you do the math there, you're over 110 million. And yeah, does LSU have the money? Sure. But I will beat this dead horse over and over and over and over. There's a difference between having money and knowing what to do with it. You could have money and piss right through it and just burn it, light it on fire, and then do nothing with it. Or you can understand how to allocate it and use it to your benefit at the university. There's also a double-sided sword, too, because with the Lane Kiffin situation, Tyrann Mathieu brought this up. And I love Tyrann Mathieu, one of my favorite LSU players of all time. Honey Badger. I mean, there's just nothing to hate on with Tyrann. He's a through and through baller. When we talked to Frank Wilson, shout out Coach Frank, he was saying if you could cut him open, you would see how big his heart is. You wouldn't even question the size of Tyrann or anything of that nature. Regardless, I feel like when he speaks, people got to listen. And he just started a podcast. Shout out to him in the Bayou Pod. And he said, I don't know if hiring Lane Kiffin is a good decision after what you saw him do to Ole Miss. Leave them at the altar, build them to a successful program in 6 years. And now when you finally get to the playoffs, he's feeling froggy. Now there's two sides to this argument because there's the side that, well, he's got to just listen to the job offers. It's LSU, it's Florida. I agree with that. If I'm a coach and two of the top, regardless of where you want to rank them right now in terms of brand, power, resources, alumni, yada, 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 wherever you want to rank them, I think we can all definitively say they're two of the top 15 colleges, probably top 10. So you will have to hear them out. However, it just feels like to me, time and time again, let's take Texas Tech, for example. Texas Tech, they put NIL money into a roster and were able to become a legitimate contender, the number 5 ranked team right now, number 1 team in the Big 12. I just don't know if you have to leapfrog to these huge brands to be able to make yourself a contender. Then I also don't know from an internal standpoint what motivates you. What motivates Lane Kiffin? Is it going to be the legacy that he leaves? Because if it is, it seems like it's a no-brainer decision. But I mean, there's a million different ways you can look at it. And to Tyron's point, you are going to have to control that narrative a little bit in recruiting and in the transfer portal because kids are going to have questions. Kids are going to want to know why you did what you did, why potentially you left Ole Miss in this situation. And I mean, hindsight will be 2020 because if they go to the playoffs, they have a nice run, all this stuff. I feel like everybody's going to get their back scratched and it'll be okay. Oxford's going to be all right. They're going to have a little bit of a exciting playoff period that they've never experienced before. And by that same token, Lane will have gotten to experience the playoffs. So then now everybody can't say, well, what has he done? Because he's going to have that under his belt. But it's just weird. It's like you get Ole Miss to that point where, I'm going to say it again, like what we said on Monday, whoever gets that Ole Miss job is going to succeed. It might not be instantly. It might not be 1 year. It might not be 2. But that job will be a nice job considering what foundation he built, considering what the boosters, the resources, all these alumni networks, they're all going to hold whoever the next coach is to the standard of Lane Kiffin. They're going to give him the same resources. They're going to expect the same things. I think he changed the program around. And it just feels weird. Like me, I wouldn't leave. However, I'm not Lane Kiffin. Every time Lane Kiffin does something, it feels like I'm not gonna say the most confusing outcome, but there's a lot of things that Lane Kiffin does that are not meets the eye. He's not your traditional coach, and some ways it's good because you can relate to the players. I mean, look at the way he's on the Pat McAfee show. He brings in Trinidad, or he brings in Kawan, or like those type of things are different. I mean, you didn't see Brian Kelly do that, but there's also the side that he left Tennessee and the side that he's now potentially leaving Ole Miss. And I'll give an interesting point because I've said for about a week, my gut, I like to go with the gut feeling. My gut just tells me, why would he leave? Obviously, as time gets closer and closer, and you're watching the pressers, you're watching them get squeamish, you're watching them get aggravated, getting asked the same question over and over. It's starting to be interesting. I feel like it's about a coin flip at this point. I don't know. If you had to pin me down 100% definitively give you an answer, I would say I think you should stay. From an LSU fan standpoint, they don't want to hear that because that's their top prospect, and I respect it. I get it, but I'm trying to tell you that if Lane Kiffin is not the guy, and on Saturday or Sunday you don't get that notification, I think it'll be all right. I think it'll be all right. I think it'll be a blessing in disguise, and I think we can compare this to Texas A&M situation where it's not going to be a public reaction, hopefully, but more so that their first candidate wasn't the person they wound up landing, the second guy or the third guy or the fourth guy, wherever Elko was on their board, he got the job and he also got the job done better than, quite frankly, anybody has at Texas A&M in recent memory. I find it interesting, and I feel like a lot of people are bringing this up in the chat in different areas, and it makes sense. They're saying the most obvious outcome, more than likely, is not going to be the outcome. And I say this type of stuff, and people are going to take it the wrong way. They're like, man, what the hell? You don't want Lane Kiffin at LSU? I would love Lane Kiffin at LSU. Lane Kiffin's hilarious. Lane Kiffin, I feel like, is one of the most, I would just say, interesting coaches in college football. In a world of college football where we had a coach that a lot of people ridiculed in every single way, to the way he's dancing, to the way he's saying stuff, to the way he's speaking to the presser, this guy, I think, will potentially fit a mold and appease to a lot of people. However, there's that side of it where he got squeamish and he left Ole Miss potentially if he is going to take a job. Obviously, it's not done yet. But Tyron brought up a great point. And I feel like when people like Tyron talk, you got to listen. I mean, Tyron been around the block, dude. Tyron's not a regular person or nothing like that. He's a Super Bowl champion, Heisman finalist. I mean, one of the top LSU players of all time. Shit, put him on board to hire a coach. Like Andrew Whitworth was talking about, put somebody on the board that played in Tiger Stadium as a player that has a good grasp on what needs to be instilled in a coach to not only get you to the championship, not only build a championship caliber team, but make it sustainable. Because at this point in college football, it's not about winning. I feel like it's about creating a system that can constantly bring in talent that can constantly replace holes, whether it be from the portal to draft, whatever the case may be. You're not in that era of college football where you're just going to sit here with the same roster, develop them, and hope by the senior year that they're NFL caliber prospects. You're going to need somebody that does have that transfer portal king type scheme where they can go in and razzle dazzle some people and pull them. But I really want to know the implications of how him leaving Ole Miss will affect that. Because if you had to ask me 2 years ago, last year, even this offseason, who's one of the best coaches at recruiting in terms of taking a college, a university, a program, whatever you want to call it, taking a place and making them look more appealing than they initially were, I would have probably had to put Lane Kiffin at the top of the list. And it'll be interesting to see the decision he makes. Rumors are it should be this weekend. Friday's the Egg Bowl, Miss State, Ole Miss, obviously. I think that can be an interesting game as well. It'll probably be very reminiscent to the Florida game that Ole Miss had to grind through. But like I said, I don't blame them for looking through and filling out these job offers. I would too. We're talking about $93 million, million. Don't matter how many millions you got before that, everybody's going to listen to that job offer. It'll be interesting. We'll keep watching it. And like I said, my final thing I'll leave you with, one, I would be surprised if he came to LSU. And it wouldn't be a bad thing. I feel like they could make it work. It would be a crazy shot. You're taking a shot. You're spending a lot of money, and it better work because if you buy him out, third coach in a row, there'll be some scrutiny. There'll be a lot of questions to be answered. And then I think the next head coaching search that you do, there's going to be so many moving parts that it's going to be difficult. I feel like you got to nail this hire if you want LSU to be contender in this era of college football. And last thing I'm also going to leave you with, too. If it ain't Lane Kiffin, don't have a heart attack. Don't have a cow. LSU's going to figure it out. Like, I promise. Everybody's saying, oh, it's got to be Lane Kiffin. And if it is, I think it could work out. However, don't get your picket forks and your flamethrowers and shit on Saturday if Lane Kiffin decides to stay in Oxford. But whoever he decides to go to or stay with, or whatever you want to phrase it, there will be a lot of pissed off college football fans because of how long this dragged out. Whatever happened, even if he leaves, the fact that he dragged it out this long, did the whole theatrics with the private planes and the tours and the real estate and all this great stuff. Whatever's true, whatever's not, it's been a circus. It's been one of the craziest coaching decisions that I've seen. And I'll be honest, I just feel like it's curated. I feel like it's all for a reason. I think Lane Kiffin's very smart. I think Jimmy Sexton's very smart. And I don't think they're just doing this for nothing. It'll be interesting to keep watching. All right, Saturday, LSU and Oklahoma. Let's talk ball. Let's talk a prediction here. Wait, Brandon Reese in the chat just said, just ready for this to be over with at this point. I second that. I am ready for this to be over with as well. Because at this point, the longer you wait, the tougher it's going to get. I can't lie. I think I've come to terms with that one there. All right, LSU and Oklahoma. Rough spot for the Tigers. I can't lie to you. You're going to be without Garrett Nussmeier. You're going to be without Whit Weeks. But Whit Weeks said he's been playing on a broken ankle since Ole Miss. And to our point, why he played on Saturday. It's the only time he's going to be able to play with all of his brothers at one time. Younger brother, older brother. I mean, look, shout out to him. Hats off. Absolute dog. If I had a sprained ankle, dude, I would be limping, whining, ice on it. But he broke his ankle and he was out there ringing people up, running full speed in Tiger Stadium. Yeah, it was YKU. That's a pretty cool moment that they're going to look back on forever. So I had to bring that up. LSU is going to play potentially the best defense that they will face all season. Now, some will say, it might be Alabama. I think Oklahoma has an insane amount of depth at every single level. It's comparable to what LSU's defense was talked like preseason, whether it be DBs, whether it be D-line, linebacker. There are going to be some interesting matchups here in this game. Now, I got to say this, because LSU's on the verge of becoming one of the worst offenses that they've ever had. If they don't score 25 points versus Oklahoma this Saturday, the first time in the Division I split since 1978 that the Tigers have not scored 25 plus on an FBS opponent. Please remember that going into Saturday. We need a 25 ball from MVB, or it's going to be a rough look. I feel like Oklahoma doesn't really have an offense that's going to require a shootout either. If you look at the stats, 27 points per game, 220 pass yards, right around 120 yards on the ground. If you score 17 to 20, you can probably keep it close. That's 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals. If you do that, you capitalize, you actually get in the red zone and you score, and you don't turn it over and you don't go, what, 3 for 14 or whatever it was on 3rd down, then I think you can actually potentially make Oklahoma sweat a little bit. I don't think you got a chance to win, though. I'm not that optimistic. I'm not that optimistic at all because, look, LSU's defense might keep them in a fighting chance, might get them in a good position to be able to strike at the end. That Western Kentucky game, I can't get it out of my head though. 13 points. And I just don't think the defense is going to have the same success. Like when you're playing Western Kentucky, they're getting 1 yard per carry. Not even. They can't even go 3 feet, dog. Like you could literally catch the ball and fall forward and get the yards that they were getting every time they attempted a rush. That's not going to happen against Oklahoma. Not only will it not happen with the running backs, it won't happen with this guy on the right, with John Mateer. He might break off for a 20-yard run at one point. And it's not to say LSU's defense isn't prepared for it. It's just to say a mobile quarterback has stressed out this defense and this scheme time and time again, whether it be Marcel or Marcel Reed, whether it be Chainless, whether it be shit. Diego Pavia did it a little bit. I think there's going to be, or even the North Sellers too, even though he didn't get a lot of crazy yards, there was a lot of tough tackling at the end where you're not able to get him down, you're not able to wrap up, you're not able to just put pads on him. That's going to be something that Britt Venables and his entire staff will harp on all week. If you just pound the rock, pound the rock, pound the rock, I feel like that puts Oklahoma in their best chance of success because it'll go back to the Vandy game plan. Vandy did this to LSU because LSU is not able to maximize every possession, every opportunity. LSU is in a situation where if they get 10 offensive possessions, they're probably going to walk away with 3 of them or 4 of them being scoring possessions, and 3 to 4 scoring possessions will be field goals. So my point is why if you give them less time, even if it's only 10 to 15 less minutes on the clock, you win the TOP battle like 45-25, whatever it is, that puts Michael Van Buren in a high pressure environment on the road in Oklahoma, which, by the way, I feel like this has to be said. Michael Van Buren, yeah, he did get on the road against Bama. Oh, it was over with at that point, in my opinion. I don't think that he had that much pressure on the road. This will be his first big, true road environment test from start to finish. And Norman's not no walk in the park. It's not the biggest, toughest SEC environment, but it will stress him out a little bit. And I think that this could potentially make LSU struggle. I mean, look, if you look at the spread, Tigers are 9-point dogs. The money line has the Sooners at minus 400. Smells like value. I can't lie. Put that on a parlay. Come on. Like, don't I don't even want a 9-point spread. I don't even want to sweat that out. Hypothetically. Because Blake Baker's defense, you know what? It could do this again. One last game, boom, let's show out. But I like the minus 400 on the money line. I don't think there is a way LSU spoils it. Would it be cool? Would it feel good? Would I be excited? Yep. I just don't see it happening. If it were to happen, I would have had to see something, some type of progression versus Western Kentucky, and whatever the case may be. I would have had to see something to make me feel like, all right, cool. This offense is going to be able to produce in this situation. 13 points, winning by 3 against WKU. Oh boy, what was the spread? 20 on that one. Disappointing situation. I think LSU loses here, and it's been a rough season. If you told me at the beginning of the year, let me see exactly where LSU would be record-wise right here. I think it would be like 7-5. Let's see. Yeah, you'd be 7-5. If you would have told me week 1 after going 1-0, hey, Brian Kelly will be fired. Yeah, LSU would be 7-5. Potentially getting Lane Kiffin. My mind would have been scrambled. First 3 to 4 weeks of the season, you're a top 3 and 8 people, undefeated. People are calling you national champion contenders. You got Garrett Nussmeier, #1 pick. How about that one? By the end of the year, Garrett Nussmeier's not even the starting quarterback. It's like there's been a lot of crazy things that happened this season. Hopefully next season will be good, but I can't lie to you. The expectations got to be tapered back. I did it this year better than I've done it in years past because this season I ain't drinking Kool-Aid as much as I really wanted to. I'm walking around practice. I'm seeing things. I saw the offensive line get pushed around by the D-line in the red zone. And just there were some things that made that gut feeling I talked about at the beginning of the show pop up and made me feel fun. So I don't know how I'm feeling for LSU this offseason. I think it'll be very contingent on who their head coach will be. Let's move into this. Diego Pavia, our guy G-Sportz. He'll be popping in here soon. He made a claim on Friday that Diego is a Heisman contender. A lot of people were giving him some interesting takes, interesting looks. And I ain't gonna lie, the Diego Pavia pick, I would have all the chips on Marcel Reed, and I still feel like Marcel Reed has a chance because you got the SEC title game, you got Texas, you got two national stages where if you want to show off and carry, then I think the award can be yours because you got more opportunities, and that's a blessing in disguise. Because with more opportunities, um, there's also an opportunity to lose, throw picks, look ass, whatever the case may be. But for Diego, play Kentucky on Saturday, 530 total yards, 6 touchdowns. 6 touchdowns. Disgusting. They play Tennessee on Saturday. If they win, they're 10-2. I'm sure they get a college football playoff berth. Pavia right now is fourth in Heisman odds, plus 550. Marcel plus 1,300, fifth in voting. Um, Sounds interesting, but I can't lie. Plus 1,300 for Marcel Reed seems like a little bit of value right there. Pavia, he's got the story, he's got the popularity. So with this award, you always got to remember things like this because there could be the element of, well, this is the best player in college football. If you had to ask me who the best player in college football is, I'll be cut and dry. I think it's Marcel Reed because I think without him, Texas A&M is not the number 3 team. They're not going to be undefeated in the SEC. They're not going to be doing what they're doing, and it's still TBD. I feel like Marcel Reed is going to be one of those players that will get his flowers as time passes more and more. Um, I don't know. Seems like a no-brainer right now. But Fernando Mendoza at minus 100 is criminal. 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 They're playing Ohio State and Julian Saint in the Big Ten title game. They're probably going to lose that game. Let's say Fernando throws one pick. Shit, let's say he throws two. He will go from minus 100 to plus 1,000. You remember this clip. Let's talk about college football playoff rankings here. We had a shakeup. Still, well, this one is different. Hold on, let me pull up the other one. So the top 6, I feel like is going to be set in stone in terms of Ohio State, Indiana, A&M, Georgia, yada yada yada. Uh, I don't think you're going to see a change much in that regard. I think Texas is really the only one that could potentially move up. They got an opportunity, obviously, versus A&M. If they win, maybe they can cheat their way in. Let's see. You got Tennessee at 7-3. You can argue, honestly, if Vandy losing to Tennessee would be 8-3. Tennessee would be 8-3 themselves. You can argue both of them would be eliminated with that one game right there. Because now I feel like the SEC teams that would get in would be A&M, Georgia, Ole Miss, and then probably Bama. Because Vandy, I feel like they could slide, but it's going to be contingent on who moves around them. I think they're going to need a little bit of help here. But you never know. Because I'm thinking 4 teams are getting into the college football playoff from the SEC. Could be more, could be less, could be a limbo period. And I remember the 4AQ model being such a topic of discussion this summer. People saying, well, why wouldn't the SEC want to put 4 teams automatically in it? Because it seems like every year they're going to have 4 caliber teams regardless, especially with the expansion. I mean, look, if you move to 16 teams, you had to add 4 more teams to the mix. I'd say half of them are going to come from the SEC. Now you're looking at 6 of the 16, almost half of the field will come from the SEC. That's a third of the conference getting into the playoffs. It's high quality teams, high quality schedules. The strength of schedule will be crazy. The conference records will be crazy. Obviously, the best resources. Then plus the way they're going to format their schedule, they're going to do 9 conference games, add the high quality P4 conference opponent. I think that SEC can make its claim to be the best conference in college football forever. Because for the past 2-3 years, people have been arguing. Big Ten kind of got back-to-back natties and trying to just push their way into the conversation. I ain't buying it. I ain't having it. I'm all over the SEC. I think the SEC will dominate the playoff field. They'll probably get their national champion this year. Shit, you could even see if the playoff field falls right in SEC versus SEC natty, and you don't even got to worry on if an SEC team is going to be in it. Let me text G real quick, see if he wants to come in here. Let me go check into this chat. Shout out Coco. Talking about he hammering under 25, which is minus 1,800. Have fun, buddy. That's going to be a lot of money on that pick. You sound like the prop dealer over there doing your ladder. Good luck with it. Let's see. Damon Wilson in the chat. What's up, buddy? He said, don't want Kiffin. I mean, it's a love him or hate him kind of guy. I can't lie to you. I feel like if you put him in this situation and he wins, LSU loves him. If you put him in this situation and LSU has to buy him out, it'll be kind of similar to what Brian Kelly experienced. So, who that fan says today, Ole Miss feels he's standing changes every damn day, 100%. That's what I said at the beginning of the show. If you are saying you know what he's doing definitively, no, you're lying. I can't lie to you. I don't even think Jimmy Saxon knows. I think Lane Kiffin is the only person in the world to make this decision. He won't leak it to anybody. At the end of the day, whenever it comes out, it'll just spread off like wildfire. But right now, I don't think anybody has a definitive shot. Coco's talking about he wouldn't be mad if Frank Wilson ended up with the job. It'll be interesting. I think you got to keep Frank on the staff. I think from an optic standpoint, if you scrape together $54 million to get rid of your coach, you better have a top name coming in. People are going to be afraid to watch someone prove themselves at LSU, and it kind of goes into this one too, talking about Summerall and him being one of the top 3 coaches for people or choices. Summerall's he will be a great fit, and like if he got the Ole Miss job, the Auburn job, I feel like that's a fit. I just don't know why, for some reason. Sorry, my AirPods stopped. I don't know why, for some reason, I feel like LSU would be a tough fit for some games. Oh Lord, my bad. I was saying for Summer, I just think there's too much pressure on him if he goes from Tulane to LSU. That's such a big jump up. Same thing with even throwing Blake Baker's name in the hat. Love Blake Baker. He'll be a great head coach one day. But in my perfect scenario, it would have to be, let's say he goes to Tulane for 2-3 years and then boom, he's the next guy. That he would have to get some experience first. That's kind of how I'm feeling. Hopefully, next head coaching staff will be able to recruit the state of Louisiana 100%. If you can grab the boot and get the top prospects out of the boot, Manny Diaz at North Carolina. That's an interesting pool. Manny Diaz and Blake Baker also have a relationship as well. So that's 2 coaches right there that will put you in a spot to keep Blake. I don't think Manny will get an opportunity here. This Brandon says, don't want us to end up just settling for any coach. And that's part of my worry with putting all your chips on Lane Kiffin. Is because if he says no, who's your backup? And I know it's probably Drink, but it's a scary situation to put LSU in. Let's see. Oh, Lord, Coco in the chat talking about he knew he was in trouble whenever BK grind on recruit. Yeah, people didn't like that one too much. People didn't like that one. AP, what's up? Oklahoma 32, LSU 3. I like it. And then he gave us a weather update. Weather in Norman, Oklahoma 70% rain, 53 for the high. So it could be an ugly game. And that I think plays into the running aspect. And I think Oklahoma could probably murk LSU. Our guy Damon. Me for head coach, G for GM, you for DC, and then Coco for OC. Hey, you're gonna have to watch out for Coco with the OC. I watched him play C at B one time. Rough. I can't lie. I don't know if I'm gonna be a head coach of college football. I can't take that pressure. I would have to. I don't know. I'd have to be some type of position coach or something. Head coach. Everybody yelling at you. I thought about that one time with Tiger Stadium and Brian Kelly. 100,000 people screaming at him. Like I never worked a job where 100,000 people are screaming at me. Boo! Middle fingers, throwing stuff at you. I'm good off that. I appreciate it. I'll keep rambling on my soapbox to my guys who are in the chat. Appreciate y'all. I'm about to get out of here. Hope y'all have a great Thanksgiving. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving. Shout out our guy Gobble, the turkey. Got pardoned. Let's go. Hope y'all enjoy turkey. Hope y'all enjoy whatever the hell you're cooking. Happy Thanksgiving from your guy, Jacob Verda. Hit that thumbs up, and let's go. Enjoy some Baltimore.